Welcome back to my channel, and so in this video we're going to be talking about fantasy series that I want to complete before the ending of this year. This is the part 2 of my first video where I talked about fantasy series by black authors that I want to finish for the end of this year. So here we're just going to be talking about fantasy series in general. I want to finish, I at least want to start / finish depending on the vibe I get from the book before the year runs out. So first and foremost, we're going to be talking about, and most of these you're going to say are popular books. What am I if not the who for the popular things? But anyway, the first book we're going to be talking about is The Poppy War by R.F Kuang. And this book, since I think I heard about it when the last book was coming out, and since then I have been seeing this book consistently. Everybody, even if they don't love it as bad, the best thing they've read ever in their life, they have good things to say about it. So yes, of course I would want to read that after so many wonderful reviews. And honestly, I'm actually really excited for this series. I don't know, I don't have much to say, but I actually am excited. I really want to read this, and I would have read the synopsis for you, but it's quite long and I don't have the patience for that. But I'm sure you've already heard about Poppy War now. It's quite popular. So the next is Mistborn series by Sanderson, and for that one I'm going to be reading the first book, which is Final Empire. This one too is quite popular. I feel like this, because initially at the beginning of the year when I was like, oh, I want to read more epic fantasies and more, people were like, oh, start with Brandon Sanderson, start with Mistborn. This is like a beginner's level intro to fantasy, epic fantasy and whatever. And so, of course, being who I am, I went and researched on Brandon Sanderson, and I found out that he has like this entire series known as the Cosmere series, and there are like a lot of books in them. And so when I asked online, someone was like I should start from Elantris, then read I think Emperor of Soul, and then from there read Mistborn, and then Warbreaker. There was like this order, and I'm following that order. So currently I am still reading Elantris, and hopefully I'll be able to finish down so I can start Final Empire. So anyway, I'm sure just starting on the Brandon Sanderson train. So the next is Jade City by Fonda. This is also another really popular book. Like I said, most of the books you're going to be seeing here are popular because. Anyway, so this is supposed to be like a gangster Godfather X type book where we talk about gangsters but with fantasy. And The Godfather is one of my favorite movies and books of all time. Like, I love that book so much. I love it. Has a special place in my heart. So of course I'll be intrigued, and I think the final book has already come out, so hopefully if I'm really into book 1, I'll just read the entire series at once. But anyway, so I think, should I read? I feel like I've already started a trend where I don't read, so I'm just going to talk about how excited I am. Since this series, they are quite popular, I'm sure you guys know about it already now. Anyway, so I'm so excited for this one. Then the next is Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. I think this, I don't know if this is beginner level epic fantasy, but I know it has dragons, and I haven't really read anything with dragons in them before, so kind of intrigued, want to see what it's about, and I have nothing else to say actually. I'm just really intrigued and want to actually read this because, oh, and this is a black author, which means it should have actually been, sorry, this, I think Evan Winter is a black author, I'm not sure, so it should be in the first list, but it's not because I have issues and did not plan properly. But anyway, then the next is the Dave Bard trilogy, and for now I'm going to read the City of Brass. This one too by S.A. Chakraborty. Chakraborty. I did not want to say the name wrong. This one too, I'm really excited to get into it because I have nothing to say, but I'm really excited for this one too because I don't know. Everybody talks about it and people are like, oh, if you like Ember of the Ashes or which other one, We Hunt the Flame, we forget it. But everybody's really excited. Everybody I've seen that have read this book, they all really enjoyed it. And I'm like, I want to fangirl too for this book. So why not? Then the next is His Dark Materials by Phillip Pullman. This one, actually, I haven't really seen anybody talk about it. Oh, I'm reading The Golden Compass. That's the first book in the series, the His Dark Materials books. Anyway, I haven't really seen anybody talk about it because it's actually quite old. The only reason this is on this list because I recently bought it because, I don't know, I got it for cheap. Like, I got the 3 books quite cheap. So, I have it, so why not read it? And I'm really excited for this one too. Then the next is Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. This author wrote one of my favorite books of all time, and that is Daughter of Smoke and Bone series. And I love that book with all my heart and soul. And so, of course, I would want to read every other thing that this author has written, which is why I am reading Strange the Dreamer. And also, it's quite popular, and I've seen a lot of positive reviews, so why not? Then the next that I'm going to read is the Witcher series. I know, is that really the name? I'm not even sure. But anyway, I'm going to be reading Blood of Elves. I can't pronounce this author's name, so I'm not even going to try. But I'm going to be reading Blood of Elves. I've already read the 2 short stories, which is The Last Wish and Sword of Destiny. Last year, I read them last year because I saw somewhere that it's better to read the short stories than start the book. So I've read those and I might actually reread them again because I can't really remember what I read. So I can remember something, but not a lot. So I might just something keep blowing breeze on me. That's not the point. Anyway, so I might reread them, I might not, but I'm going to at least read the first book in this series before the year runs out. Then the next is Foundry Side by Robert Jack Bennett. This one, I've actually only seen one person talk about it. Okay, maybe 2 or 3 people. But the first person I saw talk about it was Rima from Rima Reads, and I don't know, it just seemed really exciting when she talks about it. So I'm just like, why not read it? So anyway, that's why I'm reading this. Then Labyrinth Love by Zoraida. Okay, let me see. This is quite long, but let me just read a small snippet of what Foundry Side is all about. So, Santiago is a thief and a damn good one, and her latest target, a heavily guarded warehouse on the Tavern docks, is nothing her unique abilities can't handle. But unbeknownst to her, Santiago is being sent to steal an artifact of unimaginable power, an object that could revolutionize the magical technology known as scribing. The merchant houses who control this magic, the art of using coded commands to imbue everyday objects with sentience, have always used it to transform Tavern into a vast, remorseless capitalist machine. But if they can unlock the artifact's secrets, they will rewrite the world itself to suit their aims. Now, someone in this house wants Santia dead and the artifact for themselves, and in the tears of Tavern, there's nobody with the power to stop them. To have the chance of surviving and stopping the deadly transformation that's underway, Santia will have to marshal unlikely allies, learn to harness the artifact's power for herself, and undergo her own transformation that will turn her into something she could never have imagined. That was so long. Anyway, exciting it is, so I want to read it. Next is Labyrinth Love by Zoraida Cordova, and this one too, I think I saw the series last year or last 2 years, and since then I've been like, oh, I really want to read this. I think the series is complete now, so hopefully before the end of this year I'll be able to read it. And so a bit of synopsis for your liking. Alex is a wizard, the most powerful witch in a generation, and she hates magic. As her death day celebration, Alex performs a spell to rid herself of the power, but it backfires. Her whole family vanishes into thin air, leaving her alone with Nova, a brujo she can't trust, but who may be Alex's only chance of saving her family. Kind of really excited for this one. I won't lie, the cover was the first thing that drew me to this book, but I also kind of am intrigued and want to know more soon. Then the next and I think the last is the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin. This is also by Black author and should have been in the first list, but anyway, so this one too is kind of going everywhere. I even heard, especially, I don't know, for some reason, I think either a month or a few weeks ago, there was an announcement that there's going to be a live adaptation. I don't really know what is for this series, and I don't know, it just kind of came out again and everybody's talking about it, and I'm just like, I recently got this book, so why not just read it? So hopefully before the end of this year I should have read book 1, which is the 5th season. Anyway, we've come to the end of this video. I know I was a bit incoherent, and anyway, I'm sorry, I just don't have patience. But anyway, if you watched this video up to this point, thank you for listening to my endless babbling, and comment if you've read any of this book and let me know your thoughts on them, and see you next time. Bye.